Chester.
What is this?
Hey folks, I'm going to hand it over to your actual host, but this is the 25th anniversary of Fan Expo Canada. How many of you, this is your first Fan Expo Canada? Okay, this is their first trip as a cast to the show, so let's really blow the roof off this place. One more time. Oh, the room is yours, man. I can't believe it! Paul and I, 4 years ago, set out this to be a dream of ours. This is where we wanted to be. Yeah. And the feedback we've gotten previously was, well, you're not a science fiction show, you know, you're not a genre show. And we're like, no, we believe we can be here. And then we went up to Calgary, and Paul and I did the expo out in Calgary, and we did, you know, our meet and greet upstairs. We took away the tables, we just wanted to meet people, sign all the stuff, take all the photos and videos. And then Toronto said, do you guys want to come out to Fan Expo? Whole crew here, look at this. Honestly, looking at this right now, it fills all of our hearts seeing all you Kimbits up here right now. It's amazing. Thank you for coming out. So now we're just gonna roast Terence for about an hour.
Ready.
Let's introduce everybody here. We got on to my left right over here. Canada's Appa. Sun-Hyung Lee right here. I'll say hello.
Hello, you guys have no idea how overwhelming this is. I mean, when we heard that there was a 700-seat theater, I was thinking, well, we'll be lucky if we get 200 people out. But this is, we walked into this room. Huge shout out to the 501st for escorting us all the way through the Thank you all for coming out. This is going to be so much fun, I promise you.
To my right, you know her as Pastor Nina. This is her comedic role. Brugel.
Hey guys, you know the most beautiful thing about staring back at these faces is there's so many different ethnicities and ages in here, and it's just so gorgeous that we can all unify together for this comedy, this heartfelt comedy, and at the end of the day, it tells me that we all share the same stories. So thank you.
These guys started out as one line, one scene, one episode. That's what it was. And then it spiraled out to multiple episodes, recurring, and you're basically part of the main cast now. So give it up for Musi.
Honestly, I'm okay with it. Maybe don't do it, but I'm okay with it if you want to.
Tell the one word in there. I want to hear it again.
Okay.
That one word that got you.
So when I auditioned for these games, it was a one-word, one-episode role, and it was, are you guys ready for this? Hi. And then it got promoted to, hi, Jung. And now look at me.
That's the back manager. Next over, he is, I think the best friend we all need sometimes. Give it up for Beauchemin.
I wish I thought of something more clever to say. I wasn't expecting this many people, but hello. Thanks for coming out.
She is, if you come up and see us upstairs, she is a dancing machine. And she is so much life and energy on the show, and the originator of the sneak attack. Give it up for Jean Yoon.
Thank you all so much for supporting our show. I really didn't know what to expect. This is my first Fan Expo, and honestly, like part of it, my son he's 15, he's here somewhere, and Paul and Andrew said, "You want to go to I saw my son's eyes light up. He was like, yeah, I do. Thank you.
And finally, she is, I think, the person we most connect to on the show when watching the show. We've all been that kid where our parents want the best of us, and we just want to pursue that artistic career and be creative. And all the wonderful cosplay we see out there today. Give it up for Andrea Bang.
Thanks for coming out. This is my first Fan Expo as well, so I'm actually but I'm so happy to see so many familiar faces, and you guys have made this whole experience so much better. Thank you for being here.
So I think what we're going to do is we're just going to talk and share some stories, and then we'll open it up for some Q&A afterwards. I will address one thing in the room. We know we're going to get it as a question. Simu Liu is not here. We're so proud of him. We're so excited for him. He is repping our show, repping this country. We're so pumped. He is training so hard right now. And funny story, there's a lot of jokes in season 1 and 2 about Kimchee making fun of how poorly Jung eats. And that season, he's always snacking. There's a scene this season where he has to eat 1 or 2 chips. He went through 3 bags. 2 days later, he was announced as Shang-Chi and coming. I'm like, what? And so, yeah, we're so pumped for him. He's not here, but we want to address that right now. We can't wait to meet up with him again in the future. But let's give a round of applause. Congratulations. To talk about this show, I think we gotta make some noise. Make some noise if you saw the play. So I turned over to Paul and Jean. You guys were a part of this from day 1. Now talk about that. You want to take this, Jean?
I could start. We can go back and forth, like.
Absolutely.
So the Kim's Convenience was first presented at the Toronto Fringe Festival in July 2011, and Ins Choi, the playwright, was playing Jung, and Paul was playing Appa. I played Umma, and we had Jean playing Shannon, and Andre Stills as Alex, and a number of other characters who came in.
Everybody else.
Yeah, we played at Bathurst Street Theatre, and it was a labor of love, the play, for everybody. Ins had been working on the script for about 10 years. Paul had done several workshops. I had done one. We all knew each other. We were all, with the Fringe production, what happens is you're basically doing it for free, and then you'll see what comes out at the other end of the box office. But even if it goes really great, honestly, it's a Fringe show, but we really wanted to do it. We wanted to do it right. We did it it ended up being at the Bathurst Street Theatre right in Koreatown. And from the first performance, there was this moment of silence at the end of the show, where it was 2 or 3 seconds, and just this, and then the theater exploded, and that's when we really knew. But it was just such a thrill, because the same elements of the Korean jokes getting the laughs from the Korean sector, and then the other jokes going, and those moments that we strive for in the show where you're laughing and you're crying kind of at the same time. Those moments, that was there in the heart of the play. So that's where we started, and Paul, you want to take it from there? And then
Ins had been working on this play since 2005 in various iterations, and when he finally finished it in 2010, he shopped it around to every single major theater company in the city, and they all said no. And so he'd been working on it for so long, he needed to see it up on stage once, which is why it was it was entered into the Toronto Fringe Festival. Now, a funny thing sort of happened, and I always say this, Kim's Convenience with play, if you read it, anybody who went to the meet and greet today, you got a copy of the play. If you read it, the way Ins is written out, the way Appa speaks is literally how Appa speaks, right? So it's written in that form. And then if you're unfamiliar with the voice or the accent, it's easy to sort of dismiss it. It's a very simple play. The structure is very, very simple. But what a lot of people didn't count on was the fact that it would strike so many nerves in terms of not only the immigrant experience, but but the familial experience, the weight of expectation from parents to children, the fear that your children aren't going to succeed. But the flip side of that, the children wanting to break off on their own and do it on their own terms. Now, we did the Fringe, and it's like Shakespeare. You can read it, but when you hear it spoken aloud, then you start to understand some of the nuances, and that's what kind of happened. And so at the end of the Fringe Festival, when we sold out every single show, and we won Patrons Pick, and Pick of the Fringe, and Best of Fringe, and we had to add shows, then all the theater companies that had said no came knocking on the door. And they said the Ins 2 words, bidding war. And so basically what happened was Salt Pepper Theater Company, they picked it up. Ins had some previous experience with them through the Academy. And then, you know, Salt Pepper took the show and put all our weight behind it. And it's one thing when you're doing the Fringe show, it's $10 a ticket. And you know, everybody's really forgetting the mistakes. It's a very diverse audience. And then you go to Salt Pepper Theater Company, which back then was, let's say the subscriber base was predominantly white and older. I think the average age was about 80 years old, I think, in the subscriber base. And I do remember, you know, doing the play at Salt Pepper, and we had our first matinee, and they looked at it, and a friend of mine came up with this phrase, it was filled with cotton tops and raisin faces. It was like Shoppers Drug Mart on like senior day. The big fear for me was, is this audience going to connect with what we're doing on stage? Are they going to be able to understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? And there's that fear as a performer where you're like, you just want to connect with people, and the height of expectation is there. And it was a tremendous experience because we got through to all of them, and I remember we would walk out afterwards, and we were mobbed by this group of elder subscribers, and they all found connections in their lives. I had a woman who came up to me, and she said, my father during World War II in London, he ran a smoke shop, and this reminded me very much of him. And so there's that universality that really sort of connected with a lot of people, and I think a lot of other people saw that, and then they decided to turn it into a TV show. And
well, they brought it as a TV show, and then so Andrea at the end, how did you get involved in the process of the show?
So I'm from Vancouver, and I just put myself on tape. I put on, I think there's 3 scenes. One of them was, actually I don't think any of them ever aired.
Was it the boyfriend, Umma's boyfriend? Remember?
Oh, yeah.
Never made it.
Yeah, I think all of them have never made it. And then I sent it in being like, oh, I'm never going to get called. And then I ended up getting a call back, which is Ins and who else was there?
Yvonne was there?
They all came and did callbacks there. And the 2 scenes that we did was the cool Christian Korean boy, and then the scene with me and Nayoung in where I apologized to her. And so I did those 2 scenes for the callback. I took the whole day off. I was working full time at the time, but I took the full day off. I kind of just like laid in my bed the entire day because I think my audition was at like 2. But I was like, I'm gonna meditate till 2. So nervous. And then about a week later, I found out I got a chemistry week, which is where I met Jean, Paul, and Simu, who had been casted, and where I met Andrew.
And the 3 other Kimchees.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I walked in the room, and there's 3 other people, and I recognized one from a very popular teenage show that starred Drake. And I remember, I'm part of my language, but I was like, holy F, you're a real actor! And I ran to the corner and texted my wife, and I'm like, I'm so screwed. What am I doing here? And then she reminded me, she's like, well, you got a free trip to Toronto out of this. So I'm like, yeah, I got a free trip. And then we all read together. I read with you, and then I read with Simu, and that scene made it in. It was the Dom Jeans scene. But one thing changed. There was a scene where he was chasing me around.
Did you do the Beauchemin?
He did, but he poked like the side of my cheek. Like, and I looked at him like, where do you think my butthole is? And he's like awkwardly, it's like, we didn't know each other. But then I remember there was a scene where Jung is chasing Kimchee around the apartment, And to mess with Simu, I stopped and I did a karate kick, and I just started shouting karate over and over again, and doing spin kicks and punches. And he looked at me, he's like, who is this person? And I went right back into the scene, and then we finished it out because I felt like Kimchee, in my mind, was like he's the best friend, but he never sees himself as the best friend. He thinks the show's about him. And so he would never let Jung push him around. Kimchee would fight and lose. He'd rather fight and lose than give up, right? So that was my interpretation of
If you
it.
pick my next audition, I'm not shouting out karate. You're wrong. Oh, you're wrong.
So that was me, and then I Paul.
Yeah.
We did handyman read. We did
Toilet when we got ball cock. I remember too, I came back to Andrea because I remember doing the chemistry with her, and we had a number of fantastic actors come out for the part. But there was something about the way when Andrea and I did it that it stopped being a scene, and I got really mad at her. She just found that way to just sort of just grate at me, and it was just like, what are you doing? And it became more than just a scene, and I remember by the end of it I was thinking I was shook. And I think that's her. That's got to be her, because everybody else is great, really crafted, well, good actors. But there was another level to Andrea's audition that really sort of made it personal. And the dynamic was there, and that's one of the things in chemistry too, and same with Andrew. When we did the ball cock scene together, he went, and again, he was with 4 other guys auditioning for Kimchee, he went the opposite direction. All of his choices were the opposite of what all the other actors did. And it was weird, but it worked. And it was refreshing. And that was the thing, and then at the end of that, I was like, who is this guy? I had to know who he was. And I was stoked to learn that he was from my little hometown, Calgary. But here's the other thing. He was talking about how the night before, he'd gone out and done an entire improv set. He flew into town, didn't know anybody, looked up the improv scene, called them up, asked if he could play with them, and did. He did an entire set the night before. Now, if it were me and I was flying to another city, yes, they're paying for me. There's no way I'd be going out playing and doing improvisation. I'd be in my hotel room, weeping silently to myself. And that's how I knew this guy was going to be. He was a different animal altogether. And the respect started from then.
Yeah. And then we built Ghostbusters Proton Packs. So we've heard Michael is one line. Amanda, how did you get involved in the show? Because you knew Ins before.
Yeah, I'm deep into Ins. Only because I went to university with Ins, and I bumped into him one day walking down the street. This was like 4 years after school, and I was like, well, what are you doing? And we were both sort of struggling actors, and he said, well, I've written a play, it's called Kim's Convenience, it's about a convenience store, and I'm actually doing a read at the Second Cup, if you want to come.
Second Cup?
No, I don't want to come. And then I heard it was a French play, and I still didn't go to see it, because sorry guys, but I was still like, I don't want to see it, sorry about that. But then I started hearing people talk about it all the time, and how beautiful it was, and how wonderfully written it was, and how wonderfully performed it was, besides what Paul did. And so then I was on vacation, and I got a phone call from my agent, and they were like, we didn't submit you for this, we don't know why these people keep hounding you for this role, because it's nothing like you, but it's about a convenience store. And I was like, it's a TV show? But it's funny that you had the impulse to of not sort of going against hype or going against everything, because Nina was written as not suave, but a lot more put together than poor Nina is, the Nina that you guys meet. She's a bit of a disaster, but I love it because Paul says it's my 9-year-old self. And Paul calls me a nerd on set because she's so nerdy and ridiculous and just a mess of a person, but a wonderful heart. And so I kept trying to pronounce things wrong during my audition on purpose, or I kept being really awkward. And during my audition, I sort of slated sideways, I introduced myself sideways. It was awkward, and I thought this is definitely not going to get me a role because it's a crazy audition. But they liked it, and it did, and I came to set, and all of these people now are my family again, except Paul.
And it's funny because you know, we talk about the comedic side of you. You also have the other side right now on a very popular television show. I feel like some people are tuning in right now.
There's like 5 people that are clapping, and that's my mom. Yes, you are so many.
You're so Handmaid's Tale. What's it like to be able to come and bring the comedy here, where in the other world it's very different?
I mean, it's my 3rd year, well, like my 3rd time around going back and forth from both, and I always call Kim's my summer camp because I had just gotten out of Gilead and gotten out of my slave costume and Handmaid's Tale and all of the rape and the fun stuff that comes along with that show. So Kim's is just such a wonderful light experience. And my very first day on Kim's, I did a scene with Paul, and I had only ever really done comedy, and I thought that I was okay. But there was a scene. It was the Subisu. I think it was the sneak attack.
Oh yeah.
And if you go back and watch it, there's not one take where I'm not laughing. Like they had to cut around me because I couldn't get my lines out and I thought I was gonna get fired because he's so funny. And that's just such a joyful experience to be in. But making the transition, to answer your question, from Kim's doing Handmaids is a lot more difficult. In Handmaids, I have a limp. If any of you see the show Handmaids, we whisper a lot. It's really dark. And so.
Wait, you're in that?
Honest to God, you guys. Come to the meet and greet later, and you're going to be the world's biggest jerk, and it's that.
You're so hard on yourself.
It's the worst. It's an interesting transition to go because the show is just so much joy and the experience is so wonderful, and the crew now is such a well-oiled machine. Shout out to our crew and our writers. That it does take a couple of years to switch, and it's not the content, it's mostly the joy that I feel when I'm working, because it doesn't feel like work when I'm doing it on the show.
Yeah. I've never heard, how did you audition for the show? What was your process like?
I remember I got it when I was like, so I was about 5 years. I'm from Winnipeg. I've been living in Toronto for like, oh nice, we're from Winnipeg, great. I've been living in Toronto for like 5 years at that time, and I remember being so broke. When I finally got this audition, I was busting at a pizza restaurant, and I was like, there, and I'm like, man, I've been doing this, like, I've been working these kind of jobs since I was like 16 years old. I'm like, I don't know if I can like keep up with this for much longer. And then I got this audition, and I read the script, and I was like, oh, this is actually very funny. Which is like more rare than you think. I was like, oh, this is really funny. And I remember a friend of mine, she does quite well in acting. Her name is Alice Moran, and we were talking about doing comedy. And what she said, someone told her, was like, just play everything as small as you can. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna do that. And I don't know if you guys noticed Gerald, he's very small in the reactions.
He's the king of this. Sorry, just to interrupt.
Yeah.
Ben is the king of this because I can never do a scene with Gerald in it because he's always muttering something under his breath. And it's always different. And Ben is the master of that little sneak attack there because it's different, it's very appropriate, and he is hysterical, especially when we did that Hapkido scene.
Oh, Hapkido!
Yeah. And I swear I blew so many takes because he would just say something different every single time. So I'm sorry.
Oh, no, that's really flattering. That's very nice. So yeah, then I remember I went in, and that's where I met Andrea and Paul, and they were very nice. Not everyone does this. They're like, do you want to run lines and stuff like that? And I was like, yes, please. I was terrified. It was the callback for it. We were doing a chemistry review, and we went up to the hall, and we read it, and someone came out and told us to keep it down, and then they were like, they didn't realize we were acting. And we were doing the scene, and I was like, okay, that's a good sign. And then, yeah, I just went in and did it. Yeah.
Here, look at you.
I'm here, yeah. How about you guys?
Yeah, sorry, just one story that you were talking about how you were, for a lot of us, this was our first sort of big TV gig. It was for me. And, you're sort of sitting around, and we're getting paid on a regular basis now. What are you going to do? Are you going to buy anything? How are you going to treat yourself? And do you remember what you said?
Yeah, I remember I as soon as I got it, I went into work and I quit, and then I bought 2 pairs of shoes, because all my other sneakers had like holes in the bottom. So I bought 2 pairs of shoes, I quit my job, and then my agent's like, okay, cool, they shoot in a month. And I was like, oh boy. So I'm gonna have to pause for a little bit, but it works out.
You went into work the next day like nothing had happened?
Yeah, 2 new pairs of shoes. Yeah.
And we got to address one person who isn't here, but she is here represented in Amanda's t-shirt right here. Can you show her right here? Give it up for Nicole Power. Canada's triple threat.
Can you guys tell the story about Nicole? How she wasn't originally what had been cast?
Yeah, so I remember that it was Simu and I, and one day they brought us out to, well, the really cool thing is all the producers brought us out to Toronto to hang out for a week before we started filming. So like we went and hung out, we had like food together, Paul took us to see movies, and then they brought Simu and I in to audition a bunch of Shannons. And they were all really talented. But then Nicole came in and she crushed it in every way possible. And there was one scene they made us improvise where we were doing a handy staff photo. And I made a comment as Kimchee saying, "Hey Shannon, you stand behind Jung." And she's like, "Okay," and then hugged his body. And she had that instinct, where she just loved this character. And then when she left the room, we turned around and was like, "That's her." And then literally within a week, she got bumped up to main cast, she got a dressing room, and it is so deservedly so. Working with her, Michael, maybe you can attest to this, working with her is a joy and also a curse because she makes us laugh all the time.
Yeah, it's really hard a lot of times doing handy. Also, we really love each other too, we really trust each other, which is really important. But we also really want to make the other person crack. It's like, it just gives me so much joy when I can screw up someone's take at home.
This year, Akosia plays Stacy.
Oh my gosh, she lost it.
There was one where you and I, we were just giving it, we were just crushing her. And that was like,
what was it? Do you remember? No, I mean, don't say it. But
it was like a scene in the garage, and she was coming in, and she couldn't make it, and she was getting mad at us. But it only made you and me angry more.
Yeah.
And it was maybe in our delivery.
Yeah.
And when you watch the show, you think it must be so much fun shooting. It is exactly that.
Yeah.
We're always behind because we're always around.
And the thing about Nicole is that she gives it her all on the day, but she's actually quite timid and shy and not really reserved and doesn't really like being the center of attention. So if she has like a big thing to do, she's like, "Oh, I'm so nervous about that." And then it'll be like, "Action!" She's like, you're like, "Oh my god, I had no idea that was in you." But she when it's time to deliver, she delivers, and then after she's like, "Okay, I'm sorry, everybody." She's super talented and so funny and a real actor.
Oh, she's a real actor. And it's funny because whenever we do table reads, she always opens the script and be like, "Shannon dies! Oh no!" And shows me around. And we're just, she's so much fun to work with. I want to acknowledge that she's in Newfoundland right now for a wedding. So she couldn't be here, but we've been texting her photos as everyone who's cosplayed as Shannon. She is so happy right now. So thank you so much. Going over to Junior, to see it as a TV show, to go from play to TV show, what was it like stepping back in this character during the first season, rediscovering Umma, but also the tone of the show from the play to the TV show has changed.
Oh yeah.
What was it like finding the tone of the TV show?
The role of Umma in the play is very different because it's a much darker place. She's very sad. She's in a place of grief where Jung basically is completely estranged from the family, and Janet's still not married, and she's still living at home. And there's so much that she's really deeply unhappy about and doesn't feel that she can really. There's nothing that she can do. Whereas in the TV show, it's like everything's up for grabs, and there's a lot of comedy, physical comedy. It's for me, for Umma, it's very different. It almost doesn't feel like the same project at all. I think for Appa, there's much more continuity, and some of the jokes from in the play made it into the especially season 1. Yeah. So for me, it's just been unbridled. Season 1 was just unbridled. Like, oh my God, I can't believe we're doing that! I'm so happy. Stories like Cool Christian Korean Boy, where Umma's, putting up ads and stuff. It seems outrageous, but it is well within the range of my personal experience. experience. All right? I don't know if you guys caught this on the news, but about 4 months ago, there was a news alert with photos of an elderly Korean woman. They didn't say she was Korean. I'm telling you, she was Korean. She was 100%. Apparently, she was going around this campus, accosting young Asian women, asking them if they would date her son for the prom. Now, you tell me, is this within the range of the real? Absolutely. so that for me, those kinds of stories are just like great. That's all.
We made season 1, and Paul, we were getting ready to air it. You know, it was going back to back. It got preempted for the Blue Jays. Oh, and I was worried. I was like, yo, man, we're screwed. We're done. That could be it. But the first night, the reception, the success, what was that like?
Well, you know, again, Kim's has always been for me the little show that could. It always exceeds expectations that are placed upon it, and we always. It's a show that always, to me at least, up until now, has been underestimated by everyone who's just sort of on the outside looking in. And then when they finally experience it, you know, the other penny drops and they kind of go, oh, I didn't know it was a good show. And so, like, that first night, I mean, I remember, I felt like Cinderella at the ball. You know, here I'm a jobber. I've been working as an actor for like close to 25 years, lots of small roles. You know, expositionary characters, never asked to carry anything, to be a lead, to actually have a background or a story. And so to finally be able to do an entire season of television as one of the lead actors was tremendous. And then to see it projected on the big screen at the CBC in the Glenn Gould studio with all this invited audience members, and then to have the critical reviews come out. There were so many pinch me moments about it. And the one thing that always kept me grounded was the fact that, you know, everything in life is fleeting. You don't know how long stuff is going to last. So I really want to make sure, and I wanted to impart it on everybody else to remind them that what we have is super special. And to be grateful for that, to be thankful, and to treat every day because tomorrow you never know what can happen. And I think that served the show really, really well. It's just this overwhelming sense of gratitude and you know, respect back to the audience, because without you guys, the show would be nothing either. And so those days were, I'm here. I can't believe all these people are here to hang out with us. You know, we're season 4 is in the can and about to be premiered in January.
Yo, it's going to be our best season.
It's so good. And we're going to keep going. I can do the show for the next 20 years if they let me, I think.
You won't be back.
Yes, thank you.
Paul, take me back. There's this man right here has won 2 Canadian Screen Awards for Best Actor. Your speech, and if you haven't seen it, go look up Paul's bolts. I don't know how he did his first speech. I don't know how he topped it with his second speech. But bring it back to the night. You won the CSA. You beat out some heavy hitters. What was that feeling like to be up on that stage?
I didn't think I was going to win. You know, so I didn't prepare anything. You know, both years I didn't expect to win. I thought I was just really lucky to be invited, to be honest. And then I remember my wife actually saying, well, you should think about something to say, because if you do win and you have nothing to say, you're going to look like, in pardon my language, an asshole. So I started thinking about, okay, well, what would I say? And then I started writing something out. And before I knew it, it was like 5 pages in, because I was thanking everybody I knew. And then I remember asking Jonathan Schwartz, who's our director of communications, how long do we have for the speeches? And he said, 30 seconds. I had 5 pages worth of stuff. I said, forget it, I'm not prepping anything, so I just sort of threw it out. And it was just one of these moments where they called my name and I blacked out, to be honest. And I just remember, we've all seen the award ceremonies where they come up and you think all these people you don't know, and it's very genuine, it's great, but it's really boring for everybody to watch if you don't know these people. And I kind of thought, well, when am I ever going to get a chance to have people listen to me? And so what do I want to say? And I still don't remember what I said, but something really nice came out apparently. But it was about family, and about how at the times, you know, because it is still a very, very strange political time, but the fact that we're normalizing an immigrant family as being the same as everybody else. You know, we have hopes, fears, dreams, we're not perfect, but we love each other, and I think that was really important. I think that really sort of struck a chord, and there's something very uniquely Canadian about that as well, that we celebrate the fact that we are different but the same. And, you know, I need to say this too, I'm very fortunate to having won these awards, but it's because I work with the best people out, you know, Jeannie, you are my partner in every scene that we do. Andrea, you too. You know, Andrew, we get more scenes this year, spoiler, together. You know, Michael, you had a couple of scenes.
Yeah, it was fun. It was really fun.
But you're only as good as the people that you work with, and these guys always bring it. And I'm just the fortunate one to be able to reap the rewards from that because, you know, they're for the grace of God type thing, and yeah, okay, Amanda. I was going to call you Alana. Wait, your name's Amanda?
The whole time it's been Amanda. The whole time.
Oh. I was confused because I thought there were two Andreas on set. But, and again, with Amanda, the joy and the love on set, the respect that we have for each other, and the trust that we have for each other, it's very special.
Can I add something really quick? Because I'll be really sad if I don't get to say this. When I came to my first day on set, which was supposed to be my only day on set, and no one knew that it wasn't going to be anymore, maybe the writers did, these guys didn't. I walked into the makeup room and Paul wasn't working that day, but he was there. And I was kind of a little bit starstruck because I had seen the play. And he came up to me and he said, "Oh my God, are you Michael?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Man, your role of Terence, it's so cool." They gave me like 2 more lines. But he was like, "Oh God, Terence is so funny." And he's like, and he talked me up so much and made me feel so insanely special that I immediately got on the phone with my girlfriend at the time and I said, "I think I'm a bigger part of this show." And then I felt so welcomed, and the number one and number 2 really lead the show, right, and set the tone. And when I got called back, I was like, I knew it. And then I found out that Paul had 0 idea that I was back. That's how he treats every single person that walks onto that set, like they're the most important person. I literally felt like I was like, is this Terence's comedians? I felt like a freaking rock star because of Paul. So yeah.
Every day we finish rapping, Paul walks around and shakes the hand of every crew member, every grip, any extra, any background, and anyone that is around that worked on that day. Paul will shake their hand and say their name. And that's his man right now. What I wanted is, so I'm going to put everyone on the spot here. I want everyone to share your favorite on-set moments that you witnessed, that you were a part of, all right? I want to give them the behind the scenes, your favorite moment behind the scenes. Give us the world. Andrea, I will come to you last. Jean, you have one? Jen, you have one?
So many, but go. There's too much stuff, it's all muddled.
Well, I remember it was in the first season and I was working at the store. It was me and Paul and I was trying to sell cigarettes to that woman, and I remember we were doing that scene and we broke laughing so many times that the production was usually pretty cool about that, was starting to get angry. Like they were starting to be like, okay, it's not that funny, like you guys gotta pick it up. We were sitting there with like tears in our eyes and down our faces. I remember when I did it, I was like, I just felt so good and so like welcomed in, and I was like, oh, I think we have something like really, really special here, and that's when it really clicked for me that day, that moment. Yeah.
All right, Michael, what are you thinking?
I think the first thing that comes to mind is when it was the episode with Gwen, the first one where you were like trying to ask Gwen out, and then I ended up, and then you were like, what the hell's he doing? I was teaching how to play flute. But the thing is that like just when I get to find out little things about Terence, because we don't know. First of all, we get scripts out of order, right? So a lot of times we don't really know we'll shoot episode 10, and then we'll shoot episode 2, and then we'll shoot episode 11, and then 3. And so you don't really always know where it's headed, but just knowing that like Terence had this girlfriend, and he was just kind of like, now he's like totally cool about it, just teaches her flute, and like Kimchee was intimidated by Terence. I was like, I don't know if I can do this. Like, and I mean, I love Andrew so much, and we're such good buds, even though he'll tell you differently, but he loves me. He tells me he loves me every day. He texts me, and he says I love you. Every day, it's so annoying. And so, no, but you know, and so getting to play with you and expanding the character, that's probably the best.
Mine are, Paul and I are making fun of each other, but Paul is, I call him my set bestie. He's one of my dear friends, and he inspires me more than most actors that I work with. All of you inspire me, I love you all. But Paul is special. So I have two. One is through the marriage counseling session last year, the marriage counseling episode. And Paul, you guys have to understand that he has to break down, but the way they edited it looks like he's a bit teary, but it's a comedy, so it's not heavy drama. He cried 68 times. In every take, in everyone's coverage, sometimes the camera wasn't even rolling when he was crying. And he's such a beautiful comedic actor, but he's such a talented dramatic actor. And I think it's the first time I really was like, wow, this is a powerful performer. Like he's a level beyond. So it was really beautiful to watch my friend excel. The second one was this season. I can't say anything. I'm going to spoil it a little bit. Well, I get in trouble. Jonathan's not here. You want to hear it? No. Oh, is he here? I have to make a noise.
Oh!
And I have to make a noise. Well, Paul makes a noise, and then I have to copy the noise. That's all I'm going to say. And did we get through it?
No.
We didn't get through it.
We laughed for 15 minutes.
We laughed for 15 minutes. And it was the same thing where the crew was like, the first couple of times they were like, ha ha ha, along with us. But then they were like looking at their watches and calling their wives and pacing and like shaking their heads at us. And but we couldn't stop. And the only person that made it through kind of once was Jean.
Yeah. And
it was amazing. But those moments where you're getting paid to laugh with one of your closest friends, it's pretty great.
Janet and Kimchee get dim sum. We were sitting on the couch watching Pirates of the Caribbean, and they give us a bag of, she bought snacks, we opened a bag of pork rinds. I've never had pork rinds in my life, and I open it, and we're filming the scene, and there's such a bad smell. And I'm thinking to myself, yo, Andrea, did you fart? Like, hold up to it. And then like, maybe 5 minutes in, I'm like, Andrea, I just had to call her, I'm like, did you fart? And she's like, no, did you fart? And I'm like, no, she's like, I thought you farted. I'm like, no, I thought you farted. Pork rinds, that was the smell of the fart. And so I just love that there's this moment of we were trying to be polite to each other for 5 minutes, and at the end of our life, we just couldn't do it. We had to call each other for our farts. Neither of us have farted, so I love...
Now I have a story.
For the farts, Jean?
I am, yeah. All right, so I'm lactose insensitive. I'm not lactose intolerant and like cheese, but and our craft person makes some really good mac and cheese. Mac and cheese is dangerous. Yeah. So I think mac and cheese. This store says it's very well mentioned.
You are not sorry about this one. She's always got a smile on her face. Guess what I had?
I love Paul. I've known Paul for a long time. When he laughs, and when his eyes jiggle, and if I held it together that one day, it's only because I had so much practice. Because Paul is so, and it's not just when the camera's going. Like he'll keep it up just for his own amusement and to amuse the crew. Yeah. And so you gotta kind of hold it together. There was one scene we shot this season was me, Paul, and Andrea, and all three of us were losing it. Like it was. Andrea's a very funny dancer. Anyway, my point is, mac and cheese is dangerous.
Is that all you're telling us?
That's all I know. And I'll only eat it if
Let your imagination fill it in.
Farts inspired the mac and cheese story, so I feel like farts would be the beginning, middle, and end of Jean's story. Andrea, over to you. Okay, on to Paul.
You know, again, it's those moments of sheer hilarity, like when you're struggling to make it through a take and you're literally crying. And the thing is, when you work with all these great people for a number of years, you get to know each other really, really well, and you can tell everybody's got to tell they're about to crack. You know? and I know Jeannie's tell, and Amanda called out I didn't know I had tell, but Amanda called.
Eyes jiggle.
Yeah. He said, but Amanda says, you know that if I'm about to start laughing, what happens is I become very still.
He doesn't move.
I stop moving. I don't want to, or I'll get lower. It's terrible.
I can see you.
So those moments always stay out to me, like when we're struggling to get through the day and we're cry laughing all the way through. But the flip side of that is, you know, when you hit these moments, and it was in season 1, I was working with Andrea, and it was the episode Root Kid with the flick. And
the freezer.
Yeah, so we're in the freezer. And, you know, we're shooting the scene, and it's on Andrea, and there's a moment where she's trying really hard to apologize to Appa, and he's there, he's restocking, he's being stubborn, and he's hurt. And she starts in on her apology, and her eyes well up with tears, and it caught me so by surprise. It was so unexpected, it was so well crafted, and such a sublime moment, because you forgot about the cameras, you forgot about the lights. She was just there, being this repentant child, trying desperately to tell her father that she loved him. And that caught the entire crew off guard. We had camera guys wiping their eyes away, right? Like it was, you know, everybody behind the monitors, they were all crying. And that's, you know, like I knew Andrea was a gifted actor before, but this was just icing on the cake. And doing any sort of scene, like the father-daughter stuff is always very near and dear. It's one of my favorite stuff whenever I get a scene when it's Appa and Janet and they're having a heart-to-heart. That's a favorite. Same with Jeannie when we do the bedroom scenes. It's actually a lot better. It's like, you know, when we're there, it's just a couple and our defenses are down and we're just talking about how the day goes. The fact that we get to play scenes like that is such a treat. You never see couples have these heart-to-heart moments where they're just relaxed. And that's what sets Kins apart, you know, from every other show I've seen, especially when you're representing, you know, an entire culture or just a non-white culture. You know, it just humanizes us and we get a chance to play these lovely, well-crafted scenes too. And those moments stick out for me, you know. And I'm very lucky to say there's so many of them. I can't really just pick one. So.
Yeah.
And waterbed scenes. Waterbed scenes. If you haven't seen season 3 yet, you get it for free on the app CBC Gem. Once again, you don't have to have cable. Just download CBC Gem. If you're a Canadian taxpayer or you're in the country of Canada, you get it for free. Andrea, let's go back to you. You yours yet?
It's so hard to think of them because there's so many. On a side note, like I personally love all the church scenes. I remember last year going to the scene that you're talking about, Amanda. I remember going on my day off and watching, and it was just such I wish everyone could see all these people doing their thing on set because it's amazing. But for my own, the one that popped in my head was the diarrhea.
I said some ravioli.
Oh yeah. I think because. Well, like both Paul and I had our sick makeup on, and it was the first time we had seen each other that way. And I just remember the part where like he pops up from behind the
shelf.
The shelf. The look on Paul's face, just like so sick, but also really arrogant and every time I couldn't stop laughing. And there's that part where like I'm on the phone about to go out and I'm lying to Appa that because I'm sick but I'm trying to cover it up. And Paul kept like hitting my stomach as Appa to Janet. And I couldn't stop laughing. It was such a dick move. Of course Appa would do that. But yeah, no, like, on the side note though, all the scenes that I get to do with any of these people here and who aren't here is so amazing and such a blast. I couldn't ask for anything a better group of people to do this with. Yeah.
How long do we have in this room? Till 4? What? We have till 5? This room is empty till 5? Oh, we'll go for a bit. We'll go until we feel like the questions have been answered. We want to make sure we get a little bit of a break because we want to get some food in us. And if you did get a chance to, please come upstairs into the 300 area. Come say hi to us. Get a picture with us. Get an autographed copy of the play. You have stuff at 4? Oh, we have press stuff at 4. Okay. We'll see about that. The audience, are there any questions that you guys have? We got 1 right there, 2 in the blue jacket, 3 right here. We'll go 1, 2, 3 first. So 1 over there first.
Wow. You talked about improv when you got here. Did you guys go into character for a moment in improv? Maybe you were as in character?
You asking us to go into improv?
All right, here's the scene. It is the church is holding a singles mingles night. Kimchee and Terence, for some reason, head down. Gerald, fresh on his, this isn't a spoiler, like this will not happen. Fresh off a breakup, potentially, I don't know. And then Janet's there because Umma has forced her to come there. Appa and Umma are the chaperones, and Pastor Nina opens with a message to all of these singles in the community.
Where are we?
We're in a church.
Oh, okay.
Singles night.
Okay, thank you everyone for coming so much to the church. And I hope that you have brought condoms, not condoms. Condoms are good though, for penises or peanuts. Peanuts have allergies. If we could start the dance, start the music. Mama say, mama sa, mama makusa.
You see a nice Korean boy here? Look how you're looking around. Jen, stand pretty. You see any boy who's a good looking? Handsome, Korean?
Damn it, Terence! Why did you wear that vest here?
I like vests, and this is the vest that my mom picked out for me for the singles event.
You have no shirt underneath. It's just the vest.
Yes, my mom said vest and nipples are in.
Damn it, too big.
What, man? Hi, Janet. I don't know if you remember me. I work in handy with your brother, and he's. I'm not Korean. I heard what your mom was saying, but once I went to a Korean restaurant.
Yeah, Janet. Yeah, don't make eye contact. Janet, don't worry. Huh? One day there's plenty of a fish in the sea for you.
Thank you, Mr. Kim.
Yeah. No, Gerald, you don't get Chelsea no more?
No. She didn't like my vest.
Oh. Cool. So she's single.
Yeah.
Got it. Peace.
All right, everyone, and that is enough peanuts for today. Thank you for coming.
We'll make sure to come back when we really have to go.
Question for everyone, and like everyone here, I love the show, and I wanted to know more about the original play of it. Any talk about being restaged or about being available in some format?
The original play? Yeah, you know a lot about it.
Yeah, right now, there are no plans to restage it just yet. I know Taboo Theater in Seattle just recently did a production where James Yee, who plays Jimmy Young in the show, he actually played the role of Appa out there, and he's a fantastic actor. His portrayal of Appa is very different from mine, but very well crafted. It's amazing to see. I got a chance to see that in Vancouver.
And remind everyone who Jimmy is on the show.
He plays Jimmy Young.
Yeah.
He's like the Appa's sort of nemesis. He's kind of like the well-to-do sort of church guy who's like, got lots more money in his successful business, and he's just kind of like the male version of Mrs. Park. Right? So, and that's, so the play is, right now it's available just I mean, you can get it online or you can come up to the meet and greet. And, but there are no plans to really restage it just as yet with the original cast.
Fan Expo 2020 potential? What? What? That's the blue right there.
I love with Janet and Gerald's relationship, especially as a sort of romantic relationship. Can you talk a little bit about that and how you play off each other and how you just trying to keep it from the initial time?
So awkward.
Well, I remember like the first scene I had with Andrea, I was very intimidated. She's a very good actor. And I remember like the very first scene we did, and it was her coverage. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have to work very hard to stay around the show. But it's something we both talked about, is we both like that, like a platonic male-female friendship is represented. Like, I think we both thought that was pretty cool once we read it and once we were told about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think also that when we, like, I remember at your chemistry read as well, like the instant, everyone who came in was amazing, but I remember with Ben specifically when he came in, feeling like, oh, I feel like I would be friends with him, like, right away. I had no romantic interest or anything. So it's like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, that helps too.
Right over here in the front of the classes.
I saw you guys at the Sony Center, the Ghostbusters.
Oh yeah, thanks.
You know, I love your costume, whether it was the Pro Temp pack or this. I'm wondering, you know, in terms of Paul, what your next project may be, as well as have you guys foresaw it taking off worldwide distribution as it has the show? So I guess it's two questions.
Yeah, well, in terms of the cosplay stuff, that's how I relax, actually. After a really busy summer of shooting games. And that's why we both started doing proton packs, as actually it was a chance to do something with our hands, something completely different from having to perform. And I like it because I can just sort of disappear in my basement, just zone out over and work with my hands and be creative at the same time and feed my inner nerd. And be, so this, I said to myself, well, maybe I won't cosplay for Fan Expo, and then here I am. I've got, my wife hates me because of this. I've got like 2 other armor builds in the making right now. One is a stormtrooper from the original Star Wars New Hope, which is almost done. And the other one is a tank trooper from Rogue One, which is still in the box. But I think I might try to delve off. I just got sort of a challenge. Somebody gave me a Starfleet insignia pin. And so maybe I'll go over
Like original series, like
This is Voyager.
Voyager.
So we'll see. We'll see what might happen next. Now, in terms of the worldwide distribution for the show.
The show as is Netflix Australia and other
Yeah.
And you guys are going, where are you guys going on Sunday?
We were going to Korea, actually. And Jonathan, we are all heading to Korea for the Seoul International Drama Awards. The show has been nominated for best comedy, best drama,
Best drama series.
It's a gritty look at Canadian life. So we're going there. Netflix International has been a boost. Netflix in general has been a huge boost to the show. I mean, when we aired 2016, in Canada, it was great, but then Netflix just really took it to another level in terms of, visibility. And then Netflix US, when that dropped, it was like, again, a huge bomb being dropped, and then we started getting people from all over the world recognized. I was just in Boston, and I got recognized in Boston, which is really mind-blowing when you think about it. So, like, the reach has been far. And response has been, great. So, but we have nothing, nothing to do with, all we can do is tell the best stories we can and keep creating fantastic content. And the business stuff is the people with higher pay grades
All you can do is download CBC Jam. You know, even if you're not watching, put it on at work, leave it on, right? Do we have time for another one? I'll go to this side over here. I haven't seen anybody from this side over here. Is anybody else? Right over there with the hat? Yes.
How much minutes does it take to learn lines for the whole season of the show?
The question is how long does it take to learn lines? We usually learn lines scene by scene. All right, everybody has a different method. So what I do is I read the scene a bunch of times. I'll read the script a bunch of times, and then I usually start preparing any scene I'm going to perform 2 or 3 days before. I'll look at it for like 15, 20 minutes. Day 1, 15, 20 minutes. Day 2, 15, 20 minutes. Day 3, and then day 4 I'll perform it. But everybody has a different method. Some people get to run their lines with their friends or whatever. What I do is I close my eyes and I imagine the scene playing out. And if I can't remember the line or I don't quite get it right, I'll look back at the scene. But I'll try to imagine seeing the scene as if I were watching it. I need to know it well enough that I can imagine how the whole scene goes. So I don't know about anybody else, but by the time I'm up to do my role, I usually know everybody else's lines too, or at least I recognize their key bits, because you're just one piece. The words are not as important as the story, so you need to know the whole story. Everybody has a different way of learning it, though. That's how I do it.
I will end on this, and I would like to get one piece from everybody, because I know Jonathan's over there pacing because we need to do some press stuff. But everyone here, we love you, Jonathan. Round of applause for Jonathan Schwartz, everybody. He handles all of our PR, he makes the t-shirts, does all those things, and he takes such good care of us. And so we wouldn't be able to do events like this without someone like him working so hard behind the scenes. So we are so thankful for you, Jonathan. But for each of us, what is, and without giving it away, spoiler-free, what is one thing you are excited for next season? Spoiler-free, maybe it's a word, it might not make sense now, but when they're watching it this year, they're like, oh, that's what that person was talking about. So Paul, I'll come to you first. One word, the thing that you're most excited about for them to see next season, season 4.
Scuba.
Dance routine.
Just kind of check to see if Don, he's watching, I can't.
Wait, Tim Allen's gonna be on the show? Tim the Toolman Taylor's gonna be here? Wow! Look at that.
Spicy.
Oh!
Major drama.
Garbage.
Oh yeah. Nice.
All coming in season 4 of Kids Convenience. Canada's #1 drama series. That's all the time we have. Come see us upstairs. We're going to do another signing from 5 to 7. You know, you came earlier. We hang out. We're not going to rush you. We want to get all the photos, all the selfies, sign everything. But one more time, let's introduce ourselves so that everyone knows who we are. This over here.
I'm Sun-Hyung Lee.
I'm Andrea Bang.
I'm Amanda Brugel.
I'm Musi.
I'm Beauchemin.
I'm Jean Yoon.
Andrea Bang.
And we are